The rescue center was already busy that morning when I received the phone call. We had several injured animals under treatment, cages waiting to be cleaned, and medications that still needed preparing. Working in animal rescue means there is almost never a quiet day. Just when you think you finally have a moment to breathe, another call comes in about another abandoned life trying to survive somewhere outside. A local resident sounded worried on the phone. He told me there was a stray dog living near an old drainage pipe in an abandoned field on the edge of town. According to him, the dog had been wandering around the area for weeks, surviving on scraps and rainwater. Nobody knew where it came from, and most people were too afraid to get close because the dog looked extremely cautious around humans. I grabbed some food, a leash, a blanket, and immediately headed out. The abandoned field was exactly the kind of place stray animals often ended up in. Broken concrete, tall weeds, rusted metal sheets, and piles of garbage scattered everywhere. The smell of damp soil mixed with old trash hung heavily in the air. It was quiet except for the sound of wind moving through the grass. At first, I couldn't see the dog anywhere. Then I noticed movement near a large concrete drainage pipe partially hidden beneath overgrown weeds. Two nervous eyes stared back at me from the darkness. The dog was thinner than I expected. Its fur was dirty and tangled, and patches of mud covered its legs and chest. Judging by its appearance, I guessed it was around 2 years old. Not old enough to give up on life, but old enough to already know disappointment and fear. The moment I took a step closer, the dog immediately backed deeper into the pipe. I stopped moving. Years of rescue work have taught me something important. You cannot force trust from an animal that has already been failed by humans. Sometimes the best thing you can do is simply sit quietly and let them decide whether you are safe. So that's exactly what I did. I sat down a short distance away and slowly opened the bag of food I brought with me. The smell drifted through the air almost immediately. I placed small pieces of meat near the entrance of the pipe and then backed away slightly. For several minutes, nothing happened. The dog simply stared at me carefully. Its body was tense, ready to run if necessary. But hunger is powerful. Eventually, the dog slowly stepped forward. Every movement was cautious, almost trembling with uncertainty. It quickly grabbed one piece of food and retreated again. Then another, and another. Little by little, the distance between us became smaller. After nearly half an hour, the dog finally allowed me to sit close without running away. That was the moment I realized something heartbreaking. This dog didn't actually want to be alone. It was just afraid. I gently reached out my hand. For a second, the dog froze completely. Then, slowly, very slowly, it lowered its head and allowed me to touch the top of its neck. That tiny moment of trust always feels emotional to me, no matter how many rescues I've done before. Because animals don't understand promises. They only understand actions. And somehow, this stray dog had decided to give humans one more chance. I carefully lifted the dog into my vehicle and wrapped it in the blanket I brought along. Surprisingly, once inside the car, it became very calm, almost exhausted. It curled quietly against the seat while watching me nervously from the corner of its eyes. I remember softly telling it, "You're safe now." Back at the rescue center, the veterinary team immediately performed a full health examination. Thankfully, there were no major injuries or dangerous diseases. The dog was severely malnourished, dehydrated, and exhausted from living outside for so long, but otherwise healthy. Honestly, hearing that felt like a huge relief. Many of the dogs we rescue arrive too late. Some come with broken bones, infections, or illnesses that have already progressed too far. But this time, we still had the chance to give this dog a completely new beginning. Over the next few days, the transformation started slowly. At first, the dog barely interacted with anyone. It would quietly stay near the corner of the kennel, carefully observing every movement around it. Loud sounds made it nervous, and sudden movements caused it to flinch slightly. But every day, things improved little by little. Good food helped first, then rest. Then safety. The dog slowly began realizing nobody here intended to hurt it. Every morning before starting work, I would prepare food for all the rescue dogs. The moment they heard bowls moving around, the entire shelter became noisy with excitement. Barking, wagging tails, paws scratching happily against kennel doors. And eventually this dog joined them too. That was one of the happiest moments for me. Watching a frightened stray slowly become excited about life again never gets old. A few weeks later, the dog no longer hid in corners. Instead, it started following me around the shelter whenever I walked past. It especially loved spending time outside in the yard with the other rescued dogs. Most of the dogs living at our rescue center came from painful situations just like this one. Some were abandoned, some were abused, some were found injured beside roads or trapped in terrible conditions. But somehow, once they are together, they begin healing together too. Dogs understand loneliness better than humans sometimes. This stray that once hid alone inside a drainage pipe slowly became part of the family. It learned routines quickly. Meal times became its favorite part of the day. Every time I carried food bowls outside, it would run excitedly beside the other dogs with its tail wagging non-stop. And honestly, seeing moments like that makes every difficult day in rescue work worth it. Because people often imagine animal rescue is about dramatic emergencies or emotional videos online, but the real beauty is usually found in very small moments. A frightened dog finally sleeping peacefully. A tail wagging for the first time. An animal no longer afraid to be touched. A stray finally understanding it does not need to survive alone anymore. Eventually, I officially decided to adopt the dog permanently. By that point, it already felt impossible to imagine the shelter without it. The once timid stray now spent its days playing happily with the other rescue dogs, sleeping comfortably after meals and following me everywhere around the center. Sometimes I think back to that abandoned field and the drainage pipe where we first met. If nobody had called that day, the dog might still be hiding there alone, or worse. But now things are different. Now it wakes up every morning surrounded by warmth, food, safety, and companionship. No more hiding, no more starving, no more surviving one lonely day at a time. Just a quiet life filled with care, routine, and love. And honestly, for a rescue dog, sometimes that simple kind of happiness means everything.